Okay, this session is on solving simultaneous equations. And this is an example of a simultaneous equation problem like you might get or have on the GRE. The method that we're going to use is the method called combination. And I'll give you an example of one of those right now. Let's say you have two equations. P plus 2Q equals 14. 3P plus Q equals 12, and find P. Notice that on the Q I put a little tail, that's because otherwise a Q looks like a 9. Okay? P doesn't look like a number, so I don't do that on P. Now, the way this method works, to find P, we want to eliminate Q. And one way to eliminate Q is by combining the two equations. Or in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to take the second equation and subtract it from the first. Which is, first what we'll do is we'll multiply it by 2. Then we'll subtract it. And notice how I selected the 2 exactly because that's what I need to multiply this Q by in order to get the same value as that. And then the negative is going to make them cancel. Now, a certain amount of this you can do in your head, and a certain amount of it you can write down. It just depends on the problem, how complicated it is. This one doesn't have any fractions or anything in it, so it might not be too bad. I've got P, and then I have to take away 6P. That's going to be negative 5P. We've got 2Q minus 2Q. Or 2Q, take away 2Q, that's 0. Then over here, I'm going to get 14, take away 24. Okay? Sometimes I'd like to write stuff down instead of doing too much in my head, as long as there's enough space. It keeps me from making a simple mistake. In my head, I can check my work more easily when I have it written down. This one is obviously going to be negative 10, negative 5. Now, I divide both sides by the negative 5. This is going to equal 2. P equals 2. So anyway, that's just an example of how to do it using the so-called combination method. It works out pretty easy. And it's the way that most of these problems can be done. Another way to do it is called combination, where you try to solve, like, it says find P, so I could solve the second equation for Q, plug that back into here. That method tends to produce a lot more lines. It's a lot easier to make a mistake. You can't, I think it probably takes a little bit longer. This way I think is easier. Anyway, that's why we're going to recommend using it. Maybe not in every case, but I would say that this is the way to start each problem. It probably will never end up being worse than the other method. Okay, now let's try this one now. So here's a good time to hit pause and see which answer you get. And then when you come back, we'll check it with the one that I get. Okay? Go ahead. Okay, now the way I'm going to do this first, I'll just start with the first equation. X plus y equals 8. Then I get the second equation. Now the second equation, I like to line up the x's and the y's. This one's not lined up, so I'm just going to put negative x plus y equals 8. I'm sorry, negative 2. That just, all I did was swap the x and the negative y. And then it says I want to solve for y. Well, this one happens to be particularly easy because I just add the two. I don't have to multiply the second one by anything. And I'll get 2y equals to 6. Or y equals 3. It happens to be the second answer, so I'm going to go with that, B. Y equals 3.